Following is a repeat show that was previously broadcast on Unity FM.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, I'm here with Saleha Begum. I hope I said it right.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Excellent. Saleha, okay, even beautifuler, mashallah. Okay, so we're talking about mental health and the relationship between creativity. So what angle do you come from in that sense?
Well, at the moment, I'm doing a long-term project. It's called 1,000 Broken Lives. And I'm hoping it's all about healing the community through the arts. So I'm using art, writing, poetry as a way to heal people.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and provide a lot of workshops, opportunities in order for them to nurture people towards that. So, and also I feel as though the arts, it really is a kind of
a great way of channeling your energy.
Of course, and also expresses your soul. I think that's the most important thing. And it's of course, it's also a great way to get rid of all this kind of bad energy and all the problems, social problems. Being able to write about social issues. And I've met a lot of poets, and even the most kind of haunting and depressive subject matters, they tend to use kind of humor or their writing to beautify it and romanticize it. Even sometimes war poetry is romanticized, and something as harrowing experiences and subject matters as those, people tend to be able to actually look into it instead of kind of going away from it and not actually acknowledging that it exists. And so
in terms of your own experiences then, have you experienced that connection between mental health and that creative outlet?
Well, it's scary just to talk about it.
Okay.
But when I was around 19, I was going through quite a bit, and I was having a lot of horrible nightmares and all sorts. And it's a lot of the times it was things like I was in the mountains or something, and something is trying to take my soul away, and a black crow turns into a black just a black cloth that drops, and there was so much significance, and there was so much, I don't know if it was a calling towards to be more religious, to be more spiritual, to get but I also felt that sense, but also it was very along with all the nightmares, insomnia, and things were really getting me down, and I needed to kind of write about it. So the best way I thought was through poetry. Before that, I never really read much poetry, just in schools, which was a great experience, but not the same. I wasn't really surrounded by books, and it was only then, through those kind of experiences, through those kind of breakdowns, which you may call, or enlightenment, or whatever you want to call it, through that I got so much into books. And now my book, if you see my bookshelf, it's overloaded, and there are books under my bed, on top of the wardrobe. I just can't fit it. I need library.
Are you like me? Have you got like a really big pile of books, like I'm going to read that one, no I'm going to read that one, no I'm going to, and then you've just got this big pile of books of books that you intend to read. It's
a different world altogether. I found a beautiful world, better than kind of dressing up, going out, parties or weddings or whatever you want to call it, all those kind of social kind of gatherings that just seem so, you feel so empty. There is nothing beautiful about it, really. And everyone's just competing with one another, and I wanted to get away from that. I wanted more meaning in my life. And part of it, I really feel as though the reason why I went through the kind of the depression, the anxiety, all these kind of things, it's more to get me closer to Allah, to get me closer to my soul, to my that spiritual side. And there is this, I think, when you listen to your heartbeat, as Hamza Yusuf also said, the heart is such a intelligent instrument. Even before the brain, the heart knows. And a lot of people call it gut feeling, or whatever you want to call it. That will guide you towards something that's more truthful. And I think a lot of time we are so anxious and depressed, and because we are kind of, our soul is rejecting maybe the social structure of things, which is, we all know how broken our society is, and the kind of artificiality of it. It's become so extravagant, and as we were talking earlier, people are capitalizing on religion, and that really worries me. And we need to go back to the core, we need to go back to basics, we need to go back to that kind of element of beauty and kindness and the soul. And
it seems like, you know, from my perspective, when I meet people that have been to hell and back, you know, and have had them experiences, they are the most beautiful people that you can meet. They are humbled, and I think in a way it's like Allah pushes us off our high horse and you fall flat on your face, and you realise that nothing, no one can give you that salvation except when you find an outlet that is pleasing to Allah. You know, and Allah has created so many ways of us finding that inner peace. You know, we can't beat putting your head to the floor though, can we? We know tranquility is found there, but so many people get emotional gratification and fill that void with the wrong things. But you came across poetry. So do you remember your first experience, your first poetry encounter?
A lot of it was so dark. It's really to do with, a lot of it was to do with the soul and trying to get to the surface. You know, my first ever poem was something about drowning and the soul just going deeper and deeper into this darkness, and I'm trying to get out of it, and I'm just causing even more havoc. And I think that's what, you know, if we don't get to the root of the problem, why we're going through that experience, we tend to cover it up, and through those covering ups are not always good. We get into a bigger mess. We dig a deeper and deeper hole for ourselves, and it's very difficult to get back up. And so, you know, we were talking about addictions. A lot of people, because of some kind of root of, you know, they haven't understood the root of their problem, maybe their childhood or different experiences, have led them to feel such a thing. And so they may distract themselves with shopping or through drugs or gambling. Or
eating.
Eating is a massive thing.
Not a good look.
It's not, but it's such a big thing. You know, binge eating, anorexia, or the other one, bulimia. All these kind of things. These are secondary kind of problems that come from the actual, the primary, and a lot of time, you know, we need to be able to accept that we need therapy, and especially in all communities. And if we can just accept that, if we can get help and understand that every problem has a solution, and we try and search for that and seek for that through our, you know, through whatever is available, and we need to try and make that readily available, and that is our duty, being in the community. So I think there would be more survivors. There'll be more people who go out there and become greater, become beyond their problem.
Yeah, because I think, you know, at the end of the day, when you break through and you have your breakthrough, that can be a benefit to yourself. But how beautiful is it when you can take that breakthrough and share it with others, and it benefits other people that are, you know, that are struggling to make that breakthrough because they just don't know how, and they're looking for that small window, and, you know. So alhamdulillah, you know, poetry was the one for you. And you talk about survivors. Unfortunately, people have got to the point where they want to commit suicide. These are the kind of calls that I'm getting. You know, people want to, you know, they're thinking about it, but alhamdulillah, they're like, I know it's wrong Islamically and whatnot. Now, would you say that poetry has really increased your self-awareness and helped you really listen to what the soul wants, or what's upsetting you?
Yes, I mean, through that, my background is in philosophy and sociology, so I've always had to be, you know, being a bit of a thinker, and you know, force myself to think outside the box critically, and look into so many kind of philosophers, Aristotle, Plato, all those guys, all those amazing guys, and then it's quite funny. I came across Imam al-Ghazali after I did my philosophy degree.
Okay.
Had I known about Imam al-Ghazali, I would have understood Descartes, Plato, all in one.
Yeah.
Because he describes it beautifully, and
Right.
he studied all those great minds, and his book is compact and just. Even through his own experiences, Imam al-Ghazali, he went through a massive breakdown. He realized he was a great scholar in Islam, and if you look into the Pursuit of Happiness or something, one of his books, and there's also, you can go on YouTube, and there's a great video on it. He looks into his own experiences, where he was a great scholar and very well renowned. People used to go to him, but there was some sense of kind of ego attached to it, and he felt that, and he wanted to completely break away from all that. And in trying to do that, he had after his breakdown, he realized he needs to get away from all that, and he needs to go out searching, and he went and searched for the truth, and he got rid of all the kind of ego attached to all the kind of
it's interesting, isn't it? Because when we look back at Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to go to the cave and just be still, and we don't do enough of that, do we? We need to just be still and allow the breathing to take place, and for us to just listen to ourselves, and that's what I say, we're so scared of being alone nowadays, Now, I understand you got one of your poems published.
Yeah, it was a very recent one. I wrote it very, very quickly, but I was quite surprised that they accepted it into the magazine. Okay. It's a great magazine. I think it's based in Manchester.
Okay.
It's called News Magazine, and they deal with a lot of mental health. So this particular issue is called the disconnection issue.
Right.
So the whole idea of being disconnected from your body.
Yeah.
So, or soul, or whatever,
Yeah. So you often get people going, you feel like your soul wants to jump out of your body, like, just get me out of here, so yeah.
Or when you feel your own body is foreign to you.
Yeah.
So you can't even relate to it. So it's, you need that kind of balance. And the opposite to disconnection is, it's called, I can't remember right now. I was going to say immersion, not immersion. Something when you become too immersed.
Someone's listening and they've got the answer. They're like, what is it?
Yeah, I know. So when you become too immersed into somebody else, which is another word which I'll remember maybe later.
Okay.
So being disconnected completely from the world, from your body, it's one angle that you may get into, and then there's the other one which is more to do with codependency, where you're constantly kind of trying to please others, do everything that gets satisfaction out of involving yourself too much into their life and not really living your own. So it's great. We can talk about that another time.
So congratulations then, your poem got published. You can share it with us?
Yeah, so it's from the News Magazine, and it's called Strangers.
Okay.
There is an invite, the greatest tea party. I wonder which role she will play. Your other selves. Do you remember them? Departed, strewn some time ago. When we were children, playing, fighting, not knowing why we fought. Ego was a foreign country we never knew about. We didn't go all Colombian, didn't need to explore something that never existed. Former selves, present selves, all strangers in one elaborate party. A party of 5. The misfits, the crazies, the high flyers, low lives, the wasted. Transmitting unwarranted emotions, we cling to each other, taking what is ours, diluting the others, guarding our disguise.
MashaAllah.
Thank you.
Wow, amazing. I can so relate to that.
Yeah. I think most people can.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're really not that different, And
yeah, everyone's growing up so quickly, isn't it? And it's like, you just have to catch up sometimes.
Yeah. And sometimes, as I say, the insane, the crazies make more sense than the so-called people who are living a normal life.
Yeah.
As even Shakespeare said, there is reason in madness.
Right.
There's something that's trying to teach you something greater. There is rationality in it, and you have to seek for it. You have to see the truth in it.
Yeah.
So
you've been very honest, mashallah, and thank you so much for sharing the fact that you have had your own difficulties and your own journey. So if there's anyone that wants to, you know, get in touch with you, do you help others go through learning how to channel that energy and do their own poetry, learn how to do writings?
Well, you can go onto the web. Well, I'm trying to develop the website at the moment as we speak. But at the moment, there's a Facebook page which is called 1,000 Broken Lives. So you can like the page, send me a message or whatever, and I am going to hopefully launch it soon also. But at the moment I'm working within my own little community, which is Perry Bar. I work at a Broadway school, so trying to target that community first. And I will be having a lot of work. I'm still having a lot. I'll be having a few meetings, maybe I think in 2 weeks. So I'm hoping to do some workshops at the Drum. So that's going to be poetry workshop. Right. So that, you know, anyone is invited. Okay. It's going. I think we're thinking of maybe Monday or Wednesday, 6 till 8. So please, whoever, you don't have to have read or get, you know, be an expert in poetry or whatever. I didn't. When I first wrote, I just wrote some things on the paper. You know, it wasn't really poetry. And I am looking to publish my work, and I've published a book. Yeah. And so it's...
What's the book called? Is it officially published?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. What's it called?
I worked with Jackie Rowe, and she was my editor.
Wow.
And it's called Ruptures and Fragments. And for me, it was a great journey. It was just working with Jackie Rowe, and she became like a mentor / a therapist. It was and a mother. It was amazing, just the relationship that you have with other people. So...
Yeah, absolutely, and I definitely feel the love in the room. You know, you seem so calm and like.
I think I'm far too calm. I used to be quite loud, but I think all the meditation is definitely helping. Yeah, and I will be going back to work, and the stress, the anxiety will be coming back.
Yeah, we have to learn how to manage. You know, and have the right coping mechanisms in today's life. I mean, you know, the social media and just the social expectations are so high nowadays.
Far too high.
You know, and even my son was saying to me the other day, "Oh, Mom, did you know that young people are saying we should get more pocket money because all the prices are so high?" And I thought to myself, wow, you know, like for my 10-year-old to feel the need to express that, you know, is just, you know, pathetic in the sense of they want iPads, this and that, and really it takes you away from, you know, that relationship you have with humans.
Exactly.
You know, because you can't beat a knock on the door and a smile, friendly
all the time,
face, you know.
And that's exactly why the healing takes so much longer, or people before they even think about alternative medicine, they quickly go into the kind of conventional medicine. And I think, you know, there needs to be more research on things like 5-HTP, which is an amino acid, which is supposed to help. It's supposed to help insomnia, kind of equivalent to Prozac, just as St. John Worts. St. John Worts.
Can we get it from the health food shops? I was going to say a name then.
You can. Holland Barrett's, actually.
We're not allowed to.
Oh, we're not. I apologise. But obviously you need to speak to your doctors before you know, kind of go down that route. But unfortunately, I feel as though doctors don't know much about, you know, they don't give you enough support. And they're quick to give the kind of medication before, you know, going down the route of therapy, because therapy costs much more. Yeah. And but we do need to look at alternative medicine and alternative ways to heal. And time is a great healer, but as you said, because of the busy schedule that we have, we don't have the time. We're thinking going back to work. Yeah. And that's why I think Prozac was also known as a kind of back to work a drug, just to quickly get you back to work, because of the costs, financial costs that goes with such illness.
So apart from poetry, you know, obviously you went through your own rough patch. Was poetry solely what got you back on your feet, or was there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners that you feel would be as effective?
Well, exercise. For me, a lot exercise is great. You need, and healthy eating. I can't tell you how important healthy eating is for every part of your body, really. And that obviously helps. As you know, you need to look at it holistically. So if one part of it is not working as good as it should, then it affects other parts. So yeah, there's been some research done about the gut and how it can be related to the mind, the mood disorders and all sorts.
Yeah.
So I really think healthy eating is massive, and exercise, and just look at alternative therapies, and also discuss it with your doctor, of course. And if you have a therapist, then discuss it with your therapist.
Talking is good.
Yeah. And I'm not a doctor, but there's been a lot of studies done about Haldi and the benefits of Haldi.
Really?
Which is fantastic. It's like as they say, it's as good as Prozac. And there needs to be more, as I said, there needs to be more studies done. Doctors need to kind of get on board and not only kind of put us towards the whole pharmaceutical industry, because the pharmaceutical industry is a billion-dollar industry, and of course they make a lot of money, and that's their sole goal.
See, in my household, we go back to Quran and Sunnah. Good old Quran and Sunnah.
I mean, the other day I had hijama done.
Okay, absolutely
and
wonderful.
for detoxification.
Yeah.
I you know what, I feel much better. I feel fantastic. It's great. And it's I've got a lot of kind of stomach issues, digestive issues, so that's really, really helped.
Okay.
And there are, I was discussing with the hijama lady, and she was saying even doctors come, but they don't advise their patients to do take such things. So,
and good old Al-Fatiha. Whenever someone's ill, I'll immediately head up to them with my hand and start reciting Al-Fatiha, because we know it's got it's like ruqyah,
Yeah.
So alhamdulillah, we can go back to that. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, mashallah. We've actually come to the end, believe it or not.
Fantastic.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much
Alhamdulillah.
for inviting me to the show.
Well, the main thing is that we can benefit people, and we need to start talking more about this in the community.
Exactly.
Mental health, that the term in itself sounds very scary, but we know that it's got lots of things into its pool now. I should come up with the definition. I'll revisit the definition.
I suppose it could be called social breakdown. I think there's a massive breakdown in our community. A breakdown of communication. Generally, people are from broken families, and what do you expect from them? They are going to go through their epiphanies and like, wait a minute, what is this, or existential crisis? There must be a greater purpose. And so we really need to be able to talk instead of,
Absolutely, and I think when we look at our parents, my mom, my dad were all from another country, and a lot of the other people that have been raised with my generation, we do things differently because we're introduced to the attitudes and beliefs of being in the West, Britain. And Britain is like very, let's talk.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden our mom and dad's like, we don't want to talk about it.
Silence.
We don't talk. Go to your room. Oh, they just raise their hand. Do you want one?
Exactly.
Like, no thanks. But yeah, alhamdulillah. So if anybody wants to get in touch with Saleha, am I saying it better?
Yeah. That's perfect.
So it's Saleha and Begum.
Yes.
Excellent. And you'll be found on Facebook. I'm sure you've got Twitter.
You know what? I'm really bad with technology, and I've just forgotten
all. You have to get with the program.
I know. I've set it up. I've just forgotten all my passwords.
Okay. And if you are interested in looking at some of the poetry that Saleha has done, it's called Ruptures and Fragments. That's the book that you have out. Again, Ruptures and Fragments, a wonderful one. I just so happen to have opened up on the page. Can I say what it is?
Go for it.
It's called The Conversation with a Psychiatrist.
Yes, that was my existential crisis.
Go on then. Have a quick read of that before we finish.
It's really long.
Maybe you could...
Do you want me to read Inertia? No.
Maybe you could read the beginning, and then if people want to hear how it ends, they can go and get your book.
I don't know if I should read. I'll read a different one, something a bit more shorter.
Okay.
So, dialogue within a child. I trace your face. Every line, every wrinkle, there is a story, a purpose. You found and kept and found and lost yourself further, going deeper into the woods, deeper, searching for darkness, who watches you, cowardly, reclined on his seat, knowing that dawn will have you back before the blackness in your heart spreads and leaks into the world. Why look for trouble when the child waits for you to tuck her in bed? She is alone, fighting nightmares, fighting your battles, because you never told her about dreams. So that's really to do with the inner child.
Wow, so beautiful.
Thank you.
I almost cried. I'm not joking.
We'll give
That
hugs later.
touched my soul.
I love hugs.
That was so beautiful, mashallah. I'm getting deep now. Right, what a way to end the show. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you've got anything to say, please email me at studio@unityfm.net. And yes, we'll continue covering mental health and the different ways that we can start using this energy to get out there, inshallah. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Assalamu alaikum from me and
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Saleha Begum. Wa alaikum salam.